All right, sports fans, how's everybody out there doing? William Martin coming at you one more time here on YouTube with another edition of the 300 Pounds of Sports Knowledge Podcast. It's been a long and winding road for the Denver Nuggets to their first appearance in the NBA Finals in the history of their franchise. The Nuggets franchise was birthed back in the ABA in 1967, and they would be one of the four teams that would join the NBA during the merger in 1976. Since then, the Nuggets have had their moments of almost breaking through, but to no avail. Dan Issel's Nuggets got to the Western Conference Finals twice, but were never able to get over the hump. In 1994, led by the Kimbe Mutombo, the Nuggets became the first number 8 seed to knock off a number 1 seed in the NBA playoffs as they upset the Seattle Supersonics in the first round. But after that, the Nuggets of that era would not advance any further in the playoffs, including, losing a franchise worst 71 games back in 1998. In 2003, the Nuggets would usher in a new era of basketball for them when they drafted Carmelo Anthony third overall. And with Melo as the centerpiece of the franchise, the Nuggets would become a perennial playoff team with an appearance in the Western Conference Finals in 2009. But for the current Nuggets team that won the Western Conference Championship on Tuesday night, this was not a fluke, as this has been a project years in the making for Denver. Now, in 2015, Denver hired Michael Malone as their head coach, and the front office was patient with him. As yes, his win total did improve in each of his first 3 years there, but he was unable to get to the postseason. Upon arriving in Denver, Malone got the opportunity to work with a raw piece of clay, as after the Nuggets used a second round pick on center Nikola Jokic in 2014, the Serbian was ready to make his NBA debut in 2015. And together, Malone and Jokic have combined to help make Denver a force in the NBA. And as the win total increased for Malone, so did the numbers for Jokic as he quickly became one of the best players in the league due to his scoring, rebounding, and passing ability. By 2021, Jokic was ready to take home his first NBA MVP award, in spite of the fact that some of his critics, or most of his critics, scoffed at it. Jokic, excuse me, would win the award again last year as he carried the Nuggets to the playoffs without the services of Jamal Murray or Michael Porter Jr. basically for the entire year. Jokic has continued to put up MVP numbers this year, but this time around, he has help, which is why the Nuggets are going to the NBA Finals. So far this postseason, the Joker is averaging nearly 30 points per game, close to 13 and a half rebounds, and close to 10 and a half assists. And when you add it all up, he's averaging a triple double for the postseason. Jamal Murray is averaging close to 28 points per game in this postseason. And all you have to do is ask the Los Angeles Lakers about the closeout ability of Jamal Murray, as they found that out firsthand in the Western Conference Finals. Having a healthy Michael Porter Jr. this year, picking up a guy like Kentavious Caldwell Pope, Bruce Brown, and Aaron Gordon, this Nuggets team is deep, and it is not an accident as to why they are Western Conference champions. Now, entering these playoffs, we did not know who was going to emerge from the muddled Western Conference, but the Nuggets were the best team there all season long, and they are the last one standing. And if you remember, throughout the regular season, there was that logjam basically between 4 and like 11 and 12 in the playoff race. And basically, a bad week could put you in a good position, or put like take you out of the playoff mix altogether. A good week would have you sitting pretty, and nonetheless, you didn't know what to expect when the postseason rolled around. But the Nuggets, to their credit, they have been able to sift through the rubble, and here they are. You look at what they did in round number one. Denver was able to make short work of the Minnesota Timberwolves and Carl Anthony Towns. They made the Phoenix Suns a one dimensional club in the second round. And of course, a lot of the talk heading into that series was, well, you got KD and you got Devin Booker. How are the Nuggets going to stop them? But when it was all said and done, it was wow. The Suns never had an answer for Nikola Jokic. They never had an answer for Jamal Murray, and Denver was the better team. Then you fast forward to the Western Conference Finals. A lot of people had already penciled in LeBron James and the Los Angeles Lakers to the Western Conference Finals, pardon me, to the NBA Finals rather, after, this team came on strong down the stretch. Like I've talked about it before, a bevy of trades got the Lakers to that point. But once again, Nikola Jokic from the opening tip of game one was a problem for the Lakers, as was Jamal Murray, especially in the fourth quarter. And what made the difference in that Western Conference Final series, in my opinion, was due to the fact that Denver had the better team, but also they have two finishers, not just the Joker, but also Jamal Murray. And that showed up in a big way, which is why Denver is headed to the finals. To me, this could potentially be a turning point for this franchise. And this is a franchise in the Nuggets that has been an afterthought for the bulk of their NBA career. It's one of those organizations that seems like every time when they were about ready to turn the corner, it just didn't work out. I mean, you go back from 2005 to 2013, Denver made the postseason in every single year, but they only got out of the first round one time. So, they took a step back, a lot of personnel changes, especially in the front office. And at the end of the day, here we are. Because if you're a second round pick coming from overseas, like Nikola Jokic was, nobody really put a lot of stock into what he could potentially be. But you look at this guy, he came in his first year in the league, he averaged 10 points per game. By year two, it was nearly 17. And year by year, his numbers continued to go up. This is the first year that the Joker's points per game during the regular season decreased, but his assist went up. And a lot of that was due to the fact that he had a healthy Michael Porter, he had a healthy Jamal Murray. And then, of course, you bring in a KCP to the mix as well. But also, it's also about big players stepping up in key moments. And for this postseason, the numbers for both Jamal Murray and Nikola Jokic have increased. Jamal Murray was averaging about 20 points per game during the regular season. That's close to 28 now. The Joker was averaging about 24 points per game during the regular season. That's up to close to 30, as well as his rebounding and his assist. And when you have that, that is a tough, tough combination to stop. Now, the Nuggets are not flashy, but they know how to win. And you look at it, it starts with their leader in Nikola Jokic. He's an unassuming NBA MVP, but this guy goes out there and fills it up. It's not stat padding. It's not, something that's here, there, or whatever. It's legit. For the most part, if the Joker gives you a triple double or comes close to giving the Nuggets a triple double, there's a pretty good chance that they are going to win. But again, he's an unassuming guy. And it's one of those where if you don't know the name of Nikola Jokic, you definitely need to know it now. And I said this before, and I'll say it again. And I will also say it once again once we get closer to the NBA Finals that begin next week. I think the best thing that happened to both Nikola Jokic and the Denver Nuggets was the fact that he did not win the NBA MVP award for the third consecutive year, as that honor went to Joel Embiid of the 76ers. And I'm not taking anything away from Joel Embiid because he's a darn good player and he put up phenomenal numbers throughout the regular season. Obviously, unfortunately for his sake, it did not work out here in the postseason. But nonetheless, I feel that with the Joker not winning that award, he kind of sat back and said, you know what? You're not going to give me this award. Okay, I'm going to show you. I'm not going to complain. I'm going to take my game to another level. And honestly, if you're Michael Malone, the Nuggets head coach, he's been preaching about not getting respect for this team. I guarantee you that behind closed doors, Malone has been feeding that to Jokic. They don't respect you. They don't respect us. What are you going to go out there and do about it? And Jokic has taken his game to another level. And yes, the individual awards are fine and they have their place. But of course, the ultimate team award will be handed down in the next couple of weeks. Of course, the coveted Larry O'Brien trophy, and the Nuggets still have an opportunity to win that. So now Denver, like I said, they're 4 wins away from basketball immortality because once you're champions of your sport, nobody can take it away from them. And this trip to the NBA Finals, it's not just about these current Nuggets. It's also about the Dan Issels of the world, the Alex Englishes, the David Thompsons, and so many others that have been so close in Denver, but were unable to get over the hump. And I guarantee you one thing: the Rocky Mountain region knows how to support their teams. When you think about the Denver Broncos, they have one of the most passionate and loyal fan bases, not just in the National Football League, but in all of professional sports. This time a year ago, the Colorado Avalanche were on the verge of hoisting Lord Stanley's Cup. And game one, which will take a place at the Ball Arena in Denver next week, will definitely be rocking, as this is the first opportunity for the folks in that region to see the NBA Finals up close. A year ago, people were questioning Jokic and the Nuggets after they lost in the first round to the Golden State Warriors, who themselves would go on to win the NBA championship. And there were also some who said that Denver might need to think about breaking up the team. But credit to Calvin Booth and the rest of this Nuggets front office for staying the course, as the Nuggets can sit back now as they await the winner of the Eastern Conference Finals between the Boston Celtics and Miami Heat. And I will say this: the last 2 years in the postseason, the Joker really didn't have the help. I mean, you go back in 2021, that's when Jamal Murray suffered that knee injury late in the season, and that took away from what Denver was looking to do. Remember, this team made the Western Conference Finals back in 2020 in the playoff bubble. Then, not having the services of Michael Porter Jr. and Jamal Murray all year last year, Jokic put this team on his back, but unfortunately, it showed in the postseason against Golden State because the Warriors basically sat back and they know that they didn't have to worry about anybody else on that Denver team in the postseason. They threw the kitchen sink at Nikola Jokic and dared somebody else to beat them. And as good as Aaron Gordon has been now and in this postseason run for the Nuggets, it clearly showed that he's not a number two guy. And that's not a disrespect to Aaron Gordon. But now that you bring it back full circle, you got Jamal Murray, you got Michael Porter Jr., as well as KCP. People are not going to focus on Aaron Gordon as much as they should. And because of that, because you got to pick your poison, a guy like Aaron Gordon can go to work. He benefits from playing off of Nikola Jokic. Why? Due to the Joker's passing ability. And if you focus too much on the Joker, he's going to pick you apart, not by scoring, but the passing ability. Get, crashing the offensive boards, getting those rebounds, facilitating all of the little things on the offensive end of the floor that sum up to the big things. And of course, the biggest thing, which is winning. So if you're the Nuggets, you got to like your chances right now. I think one thing that could potentially hurt Denver is going to be rust, depending on how long that this Heat Celtics series goes. I know there are some people who felt that the Heat were going to finish off the Celtics last night. That did not happen. So if the Heat Celtics series goes long, of course, it's going to be rest versus rust. That's going to be the big argument, all along. But nonetheless, I think Michael Malone will have his team ready to play because I'm not even going to say opportunities like this don't come down the pike that often. I mean, and of course, if you're Denver as an organization, this is your first time at this championship level. But nonetheless, it's all about seizing the moment. You never know what tomorrow is going to bring. A lot of people felt like Denver could get back after they got so close in 2020. and it's taken them several years to get back due to injuries. So I think the Nuggets are wary of that. I think they want to come out and execute their game plan, keep sticking to what has gotten them to this point. But nonetheless, the Nuggets are the most complete team still in the postseason. You have an all-star center, an MVP center, a guy who can not only score, he can rebound, he can facilitate. And I know that people, give the Joker grief about his defense, but I feel like this. Some people are going to agree with me with what I'm about to say. Some people won't. It's all good. The Joker, in regards to playing D and blocking shots, it's kind of like Shaquille O'Neal when it comes to free throws. People always got on Shaq for his free throw inability, but Shaq said, "I make them when they count." Shaq always found a way in those key moments to make the free throws. The Joker comes up and makes those key blocks when his team needs it. Just look back to games 3 and 4, especially game 4 of the Western Conference Finals as they were able to sweep the Lakers. But nonetheless, you got the inside taken care of. You've got the outside with Jamal Murray. And, these guys, they're not afraid of the spotlight and they know how to come up and step up in those key moments in the fourth quarter when this game is on the line. You got a hungry KCP who, of course, was a part of the Lakers several years ago when they got championship glory. And you got a head coach in Michael Malone who is preaching you know what, they don't respect us. And anytime that you play the respect card, more often than not, your team feeds off of that. And you could see that the way that the Denver Nuggets are playing, they're playing with a chip on their shoulder. They're hungry. They had one of the best seasons in the NBA this year. They had one of the best records. But at this point, it's kind of like it's almost an us against the world mentality. They were able to slay the dragon, if you will, in the LA Lakers. They were able to get past LeBron and Anthony Davis. And now for the Nuggets, they have an opportunity to get that coveted NBA championship. And for all of those people that, wanted to dismiss the Joker's 2 MVP awards previously, look at the man now. He's helped get his team to the NBA Finals. And if he gets 4 more wins, he's going to be an NBA champion. And you can't take that away from him. I said it before last year when Nikola Jokic got his second consecutive NBA MVP award. At that point, he was a Hall of Famer because if you look at it, anybody who has won the award twice, they've all ended up in the Hall of Fame. Now we're talking about Jokic getting his team to the finals. And if Jokic does win, um, not only is he a Hall of Famer, but I think when it's all said and done, we're having this discussion 20 some odd years from now about the top 100 players in NBA history. He's definitely going to be on that list. But nonetheless, for the Nuggets, this was a huge step for their franchise. And let's see if they're able to complete the mission in a couple of weeks. So, folks, that is going to wrap it up. And as always, I want to take this time out to thank you for tuning into the 300 Pounds of Sports Knowledge podcast here on YouTube. I want to take this time out to thank all of you fine folks out there for tuning in. And if you have not already, please feel free to subscribe to this channel. Now, if you're on Twitter, please feel free to follow me at 300 Pounds of Sports. And like I always say, if you follow me, it will be my pleasure to follow you right back. There's also the sports discussion group on Facebook at the Sports Depot 365. Now you can check it out. Drop a line and be a part of one of the better sports debating sites going on social media. So once again, fine folks, my name is William Martin, and I'm signing off. And I'm saying take care and have yourselves a wonderful day.